What is child labor? Child labor is the use of children in industry or business, often under severe conditions. We will discuss how child labor was like in the Industrial Revolution and how conditions were eventually limited. Although child labor is most commonly associated with the Industrial Revolution, children have worked for nearly all of human history. The first documented account of child labor was in the medieval times, when children worked spinning thread. Others worked on family farms or for the family business or as servants. In the 18th century, many girls around the age of 12 left their homes to work as domestic servants. They received low wage and room and board for doing household chores.
Child labor was much different in the English Industrial Revolution than it was before the Revolution. Children before the Industrial Revolution were working in homes and were either apprentices, chimney sweeps, domestic servants, or assistants in the family business. Apprentices learned and worked under a master who had a workshop in their home or at the back of their cottage. Children got knowledge and practice in the trade, food, water, and a place to live instead of money. When the child got enough knowledge, they became journeymen. And once they were 21, they could start their own business. Chimney sweeps had the worst conditions and scraped soot off of chimneys. Children who worked as assistants in the family business had the best conditions because they got to work at their home with their parents. Also, the children got experience in the trade and their work brought the family money. Girls assisted around the house with dress, hat, and button making, while boys helped with shoemaking, pottery making, and horseshoeing. Boys as domestic servants looked after sheep and cattle, and girls milked the cows and cared for the chickens. Work hours depended on the trade and family, but the average was 12 hours per day with breaks for tea and meals. During the English Industrial Revolution, kids worked in either textile mills or mines. They had longer work hours, working 12 to 16 hours a day, 6 days a week. Also, these work hours were not flexible and had to be followed. Factories and mines were much stricter on children and had harsher punishments for not doing their job. They had to be away from home and in an uncomfortable environment both emotionally and physically. At this time, they were paid as little as 4 shillings per week and received no knowledge in trade to create a business later in life.
Children of ages 10 or younger during the British Industrial Revolution in the late 18th to early 19th century worked 12 to 16 hours a day, 6 days a week. They worked from 5 in the morning to 9 at night. They had a few breaks but rarely for meals, and they only earned about 4 shillings a week or none. Children were favored for work because of their nimble fingers and small body that fit the machinery unlike adults. They performed work that was very dangerous, such as crawling underneath the machinery to clean up the dust. Their hands or clothes could also be caught in the machinery, which led to many injuries or horrifying deaths. Children who worked with the spinning jennies had skinned or bruised fingers from the revolving spool from trying to catch up with the machine's speed. There was also extreme pollution in the factories. Lime dust and cotton fiber flew about everywhere, resulting in extreme health conditions such as asthma, chronic conditions, or diseases. Another polluting factor was high temperatures. Factories were heated from 70 to 80 or higher degrees. Children had no protection even from the employers or co-workers who sometimes abused them. They were punished by being hit by a strap if they showed signs of tiredness, were late to work, or to make them work faster. Another punishment was dipping them headfirst into the water cistern. Child laborers endured and suffered many extreme hardships in the factories at a young age for a long period of time.
Child labor laws did not serve as much of a deterrent to families or employers. However, many argued that they did work to reduce the number of child laborers and the hours children could work. The first child labor law, the Act of 1788, was made to protect children from working in poor conditions. In the early 1800s, a photo of a mill where young children, as young as 5 years old, worked sparked debate. Those pessimistic to child labor argued that children were being exploited by the industrialists. In response, Parliament set up a Royal Commission of Inquiry into children's employment. The Factory Acts further regulated child labor. The Cotton Factories Regulation Act of 1819 set the minimum working age to 9 and set the maximum time the children could work to 12 hours a day. The Regulation of Child Labor Law of 1833 established paid inspectors who enforced labor laws. Lastly, the 10 Hours Bill of 1847 cut down the maximum hours women and children could work to 10. These laws helped to improve the conditions of child laborers and limit the work they could do.
Children have worked throughout human history, but the long hours and harsh conditions of child laborers during the Industrial Revolution set their work apart from what had been before them.
Children faced many harsh conditions in the factories, which led to debates about whether child labor was morally right or wrong. This led to new labor laws that relieved children of some conditions. Child labor during the Industrial Revolution had a great influence now on how children work today.